Well, let's take you back now to Alexandra. This is in the north of Johannesburg. The township is one of the areas where businesses were severely affected by looting during the riots, and our Veronica Makhoali is there. Veronica, you've been taking a look at different aspects of the story, talking to residents, talking to businesses. Where are you now and what are you hearing?
Well, Iman, in fact, right now I am in the heart of Alexandra at a local supermarket that has been in this community for over 32 years. When the looting and the rioting happened, of course, when it hit the Gauteng province, this was one of the epicenters of that chaos that we saw in the Alexandra community. In fact, this local store was, in fact, one of the first hit. And after this specific store was hit, we then started to see the chaos that was erupting in several other local businesses. Now, what we do know, of course, that it has been 3 years, and we're getting a sense from Alexandra residents of how they've been able to pick up the pieces. And essentially, we know that the situation and that occurred during the July Unrest and some of the issues faced by residents have indeed worsened. And this includes the cost of living crisis. Many of the residents, you'd remember, at the time, in terms of South Africa, was sitting right after that very hard lockdown, and COVID had, of course, added to the economic and social factors for many South Africans. And this is why many people believed, of course, that the riots were either spurred by the political landscape at the time or the hardships that many residents were facing. But the reality is that this supermarket in the heart of Alexandra was one of the very worst hits. And we're going to speak to the manager now just to get a sense of essentially how they've been able to somewhat pick up the pieces and to get an understanding as well of where they stand. And as you can see, Iman, that 32 years this store has been in the community. I can tell you that when we were here, the shelves had been completely emptied out. Residents as well had the fridges where some of the groceries were stored had been tumbled over. There was also, money that was taken as well from the store. When we did speak to some of the managers here, we're going to get a sense about how they've been able to pick up the pieces. And Tate Moses, thank you so much for your time. Tell us, it's been 3 years for this business. What do you remember in terms of the July Unrest and where you stand now in this community?
I do remember that we had to sit at home for around 4 to 5 months. And then luckily, says I think the insurance company for businesses, they did help a lot because they paid most of their money so that the bosses were able to rebuild the shop, and then we started over from there. Luckily, all our customers, our regular customers, they also came back. We are one of the busiest shops in the area, luckily, and we employ about 170 to 200 people. Yeah.
And you would know, of course, Ntate, that this is a community supermarket, and you've been in the heart of this area for some time now. How did it feel at that moment, watching what was taking place for you as a manager, knowing some of the faces that were in the store?
We really felt really helpless, if I may use the word. I'm not sure how we felt because we didn't know if we were going to come back or not. Looking at the country, the unemployment rate, most businesses are closing down, so we were anxious really of what was going to happen. Yeah.
And it's 3 years on. I know you've said that you've recovered, but in terms of the proactive measures that the supermarket has taken, in terms of should ever something similar to the kind of carnage we saw happen, what is the measures that you have taken?
The security has been increased about maybe 5-fold from what it was then. And then we also have a relationship with the police. Yeah, the security has been increased from there, yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. And in fact, this is obviously one of the many businesses as well as residents that still have many questions than answers into at least who should still be held accountable for what happened here 3 years ago. Back to you in studio.
Veronica Makhoali in. Alex, thanks for that.